We have never had, people who have like very high salary packages or maybe,
You've
trying
not gotten
to,
on board the Virat Kohlis of
yeah,
developers.
We will always trying to find maybe, Prithvi Shaw.
Oh,
Yeah.
बटुआ खोलिए कस्टमर लेकर आएगा.
It's not always like that, but yeah.
Success comes from standing out, not fitting in. That's a line from the hit TV show Mad Men. Being a startup is all about disrupting in a world that is getting more and more competitive. Being unique could give you a head start, but not for long, as others try to copy what you did at half the price. As a startup founder, you need answers to your customer problems of today and tomorrow to remain unique. No one said it's easy being a pioneer, but it sure is fascinating. So, if you are one among the lakhs of startups in the world's third largest ecosystem, and you're wondering how exactly do I stand out? Well, how about getting some reference material from a platform that brings you the best and brightest from the world of business? Welcome to Crafting Bharat, a startup guide powered by AWS. I'm your host, Gautam Srinivasan. Well, we have with us a guest who has achieved a lot in very little time, and he features in multiple 30 under 30 lists of successful people. An early bird in the programmatic advertising business, he runs today a MadTech platform that could be serving a targeted ad to you right now. Now, before you click through on that ad, though, do join me in saying hello to Tejas Rathod, COO and co-founder at Mobavenue. Tejas, welcome to Crafting Bharat.
Thanks for inviting me, sir.
Thank you so much. Well, if questions light the spark, answers feed the flame. So, let's start the locomotive of this conversational journey to understand what made Mobavenue stand out from the pack in our first segment titled The Incubator. All right, Tejas, शुरुआत करते हैं starting से. You and Kunal knew each other since college की दोस्ती है. Then you started a digital marketing company. That's a decade ago, I guess, which culminated into launching Mobavenue in 2017 with Ishank. Now, from starting with $100, your typical अच्छा story रहता है $100 pocket में, to creating this leading MadTech platform. It all began at a very early age for you. So describe the experience of being a startup founder at a very early age.
So I and Kunal were basically classmates at engineering college. We were just hustling around. We were trying to just get pocket money for ourselves to just
every day I'm hustling.
Yeah. So wanted to just bring that to the table and try to understand how internet businesses work. So we tried out multiple things. Eventually the monetization of content brought our attention, and we wrote multiple blogs and everything else around to serve our content to multiple people around the world. We kept our ads on the website, and then that brought us first paycheck of $100. This was the first motivation for us that we can do also something.
अच्छा लगा डॉलर देख के थोड़ा motivation आ गया.
Correct. And then of course from that we got into helping advertisers of India to get them get users for their applications and websites. We used to help them with the services of digital marketing, and that's
you just saw what was the opportunity and you went for it.
Correct. And then that took off, and we met Ishank along the ride that in 2017 November we met him. He used to bring the clients for us and etc. And we used to help clients.
You used to convince them to open up their wallets and say, "Bhai, हमें पैसा दो, हम आपको service देंगे."
Yeah. So that led us to the journey of Mobavenue. We established in a company, and.
But ये जवानी का जोश इसके, what do you have to say about that? How did you feel कि यार?
It was pretty exciting. Like we never thought of creating such a big company. Coming from very humble background, we never thought of having so many clients, so many products across our table, and doing so well in the industry while we didn't know anyone from the ecosystem. So it was all
happens
hustle.
From somewhere. शुरुआत तो कहीं से होती है.
Correct.
All right. Let's look at this universe of customer data that is evolving, right? Because third party cookies थे, they went away. Then first party अभी है. First party भी जाएगा.
Yeah.
right? Then we'll have a cookie-less world.
Yeah.
So how has Mobavenue enabled more creative ways to bridge the gap between, say, publishers and advertisers while you still maintain a privacy-first approach during this shift? Is anonymized targeting going to improve your value proposition to clients? Because this is where I think creativity abhi aa jata hai na, because you
Yeah.
have to be creative in how do you collect your consumer data and
Correct.
what do you make of that consumer data while still being privacy first. So what do you have to say about this?
So, of course, it was a great challenge to us. As you know, AdTech industry, it is ever evolving. There is no static at all. Like, you know, it is very dynamic. You have to be on top of everything. You have to be on toes. So again, like, privacy was a major concern of multiple government and multiple, ecosystem. So we had to create our own ways. So what we thought of, like, you know, having a contextual targeting into the picture of our product, which is a demand side platform, DSP, where we are trying to understand, like, you know, what user is reading of the content and how we are able to target them. So now suppose I will give you an example that earlier we used to understand, like, you know, this is the particular user, we need to target him at any cost, at anywhere on the ecosystem. But now what we do is, now we are trying to understand the content which he is reading, and we are trying to target the content. If this content is read by someone,
Basically,
he will
response kya aa raha hai?
Yeah,
To this content, who is responding in what
correct,
way? That's
correct.
what you're measuring.
And we are trying to understand which content is read by whom, and therefore we are trying to insert our ad onto that content. So
is that what you mean by anonymized targeting?
It is also
Since we are not
anonymized.
focused on the who's reading it, but in what context are they reading? That's what you're
correct,
targeting.
correct.
Oh,
So trying to understand more about the context rather than the user himself. And then if he's reading this context, he is my ideal, customer.
Chit bhi meri, pat bhi meri, right? All right, fantastic. Now, I was surprised by a conversation I had with another startup founder. Now, this person runs a hyper-local social platform, tier 2, tier 3. Okay? He said that consumers in these areas, you know what, they actually welcome brand communication. क्या है, tier 1 city में जैसे ही brand send the message, वो spam folder में ये कर देते हैं. But tier 2, tier 3 areas, he said that we found that they actually welcome brand communication. Why? And when I asked why, he said that because they get to know more about क्या हो रहा है, what are the products the brand is selling. I want to know more about it. It's basically आप ऐसा market में जाके मंडी में देखते हो, right? What are the options?
Correct.
If I know more about them, I'll know इसके लिए इतना पैसा देना. That was the insight that they got. From a programmatic advertising perspective, have you had some similar experiences? ये जो insights जो आते हैं, right? Where you were expecting one thing, but some data is actually showing you something else. Anything you can share on that?
Yeah. So now brands are really focusing on tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, cities of India, because tier 1 is very cluttered, competition is very high. Now tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, people are also looking out for, products from which tier 1 people are using. So they want to prove themselves, like, we are also there in the market. We also, हम लोग को भी status बढ़ाना है. So they are also looking out for, products which tier 1 people are using. And what we have thought of, like, to target these tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, customers, we try to use vernacular language according to the city. So if regional level की languages or regional level का communication which they would understand, and what we have seen that they are more prone to purchase a product from the brand rather than tier 1, because tier 1 में already they have used so many products, they know कि मतलब अभी यही मुझे use करना है तो मैं दूसरा use नहीं करूँगा. But tier 2, tier 3 में मतलब they are open to welcome different brands, experiment भी करते हैं, and then they want to prove themselves basically. So we have seen, like, higher success rate for brands, multiple brands actually, that they have, like, higher CTRs, higher purchase rate from these particular cities, and they are open basically.
All right. I want to understand more on the challenges as you evolve, right? Because as Mobavenue evolved its solution to address single and multiple use cases to build this end-to-end platform for growth and AdTech, give us 2 or 3 key challenges that you face in trying to address client needs, because you also work with clients from diverse sectors, right? Whether it's e-commerce, OTT, gaming. What were the challenges, some unique challenges you saw across sectors, and how did you solve them?
Yeah. So each category is different. Like, e-commerce client wants different kind of customers, maybe travel client wants different kind of customers. So what we saw is like each problem statement is very unique. Like make my trip keep problem statement would be very different from Flipkart. So now we need to understand like what Flipkart is trying to acquire. After acquiring 200 million plus customers, now they want to acquire different kind of customers who will do certain different kind of purchases. Again for travel customer, again for maybe gaming customers likes of Dream 11, My 11 Circle, all are very popular, like doing massive amount of promotion during IPL. So how do we understand these kind of customers and what kind of proposition we should go to the client and offer them? So what we largely do is like we understand first of all what is the brand all about. How do we understand their customer segment? If I were to target for Flipkart, what I will do is like I will just target people who have a basic phone and who is looking out for something to buy on the internet. But that will not work for Dream 11. For Dream 11, I will try to understand like who are these people who is using maybe ClickBus or maybe trying to surf ClickBus or maybe other kind of app. And
Interest
then interest,
पे.
और वहाँ से I will try to understand like these are the people where I should be showing ad of certain brands.
तो ऐसा नहीं है कि one sector is more difficult than others. It's the common context.
It's common context and brands which we work with are always very high. Like we only cater to enterprise customers. So Flipkart ने already 200 million acquire कर लिया है, 300 acquire कर लिया, तो I will have maybe a harder problem for them to find out a new user now.
Okay. Because they're also constantly looking for new cohorts, new segments.
And they are already saturated, like Flipkart and Amazon of the world. So now again, the problem becomes very difficult to find out new customer के अभी इसको कौन सा लेके आओ, which is not already
customer. But तुम पैसा भी बढ़ा सकते हो ना, because the game gets tougher. So client in search of discovering new segments will come to you, and your expertise is in that. So that's a good position to be in. Saying आप बटुआ खोलिए customer.
It's not always like that, but yeah, somewhat similar.
Your smile is giving it away. All right. Now, in a recent interview on a panel, Ishank had said that Gen AI tools are helping marketers customize creatives for customers, and that results in, I think, a 3x improvement in performance marketing campaigns. So, thoda zyada control hota hai, right? Over assets. You have mentioned that Mobavenue is using AI to learn from past campaigns and to optimize future campaigns. So, do you see Gen AI improving performance and cost ROI outcomes in the near term, and then helping in the user retention side of your clients? What excites you about Gen AI?
So what we largely do is like, there is so much manual work revolving around, campaign optimization. Matlab, if client has given some kind of KPI and we are putting out some budget inside the campaign, it will not be always like that you are able to, get the positive ROI. So now what we do is like, we train AI to get our all historic data, and we try to understand like what kind of users has converted for this kind of brand, and all the learning we feed it to AI. Now what AI will do is like AI and ML will do is like if some similar kind of person has come again to our system, what we will do is we know कि मतलब ये type के customer के लिए यही convert होता है.
अच्छा.
तो we will feed that inside the system, and system will take the decision के कौन सी type of ad दिखानी है.
Okay.
So this has.
But ये करते करते, do you think the value proposition of introducing Gen AI in marketing campaigns optimization grows? Because क्या होता है इनके sector में क्या small wins पहले देखेंगे.
Correct.
Then as it builds momentum, then for larger projects, then they take it up. So ये larger project का journey कितना दूर है Gen AI के लिए? Marketing campaign orchestration ये सब.
Maybe around 6 months. That's it. Like
इतना जल्दी हो जाए.
Yeah. So already we are using creative generation using AI. So brand will give us one kind of creative. What we will do is like we will feed to AI system, and AI will generate multiple type of different creatives, and that's it. Like now we will feed all the creative to the system, and we will see like each creative is performing how much. It has reduced our bandwidth of people.
Achha, you're not spread over many places.
Correct.
It helps you to focus your efforts.
Correct.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. So before I wrap up the incubator segment, I want to know more about your scale-up journey, right? So your scale-up journey has seen you expand to, I think, 7 countries, serve billions of ads a day, of course, to over 200 million user profiles for over 300 brands. अच्छा किया आपने. So how do you see cloud platforms like AWS helping you realize your growth ambitions?
I think AWS is very critical for our business. What we have seen is like, sudden times, the traffic surges a lot. During IPL match, we will have great amount of traffic coming from, different kind of inventories. Now to handle all of this, like, AWS helps in auto scalability. So we do not have to like keep a person on a check that, to monitor, like, how much traffic we are able to serve. And if there is a bottleneck on any of the system, the AWS takes care of itself, and then it auto scales the overall architecture. So that is very, very critical. On top of it, like, all our customers are on cloud, like, they would want to see our platform on daily basis, on real time. They would want to check the data of our campaign. So they could able to do it because of AWS cloud infrastructure, and we have hosted our system on cloud infra. So they are able to see it, they are able to manage it, they are able to take the real time feedback of our campaigns, they are able to do the API integration of the databases and reporting. So it is very much critical that we would want to have this kind of system from the day one, that we are able to scale up. Otherwise, like, managing one brand, it is fine. Managing 300 plus
300
brands, like, you need such kind of system which does multiple things on its own, and it is able to help with our problems. Yeah.
Alright, चलो इसी पर एक ऐड बना देते हैं. जब स्केल की हो बात, AWS है आपके साथ. Alright, that's your 15-minute answer on how it's useless to be creative unless you can sell what you create with the right kind of advertising and marketing plan to back it up. How about we get in some targeted and retargeted questions for 5 minutes with Tejas? Let's see if the medium becomes the message. In our next segment, my favorite segment, the accelerator. चलिए, जल्दी जल्दी बात करना. आजकल attention deficit world है, थोड़ी जल्दी जल्दी बात करनी पड़ेगी. As a startup, how were you able to convince larger brands about the value that you brought to the table? Any tips for our founder? 300 brand का अच्छा roster हो गया है, थोड़ा तो tips दे दो.
So we never have a single kind of pitch, like, it is always customized. Like, if there is a customer which belongs to e-commerce category, our proposition will be very, very different from brand which is in the OTT space maybe. So we have always had a different kind of pitch which is catering to the problem of the brand, where it's there in the growth journey, what kind of solution they would be looking out for, and then we would pitch it. It would be never a single kind of pitch where we are able to solve maybe 100 kind of problems, but those problems are not related to those particular brands, so they will not able to give you enough of attention or maybe even budgets. So we will always go for the solution driven approach, where we are able to find out the problem which they are facing, and then trying to pitch it.
Available in all fits and sizes. That's the message. All right, next question is, what can our founders learn from your journey of being bootstrapped and, of course, achieving profitability at a quick pace? What's your
I think what we have done is we have never had people who have like very high salary packages, or maybe
You've not gotten on board the Virat Kohlis of developers.
Yeah. We will always trying to find maybe Prithvi Shaw.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what we have done. We have always had many freshers. We have trained them. We have not overburdened our cash flows. We have directly worked with the clients to understand what will be the payment cycle, and if the client is working directly with us, we are showing the value proposition. We have managed our cash flow very well. So before trying to increase any of your expenses, please look out for kind of revenues and net profit which you are able to drive from the customer. And the cycles, like cash flow management. So that would be the key highlight you to remain the bootstrap.
पैसा बनाने.
Yeah.
ये पृथ्वी शॉ की बात पर मुझे वो भाग मिल्खा भाग का थीम याद है. कोयला काला है, चट्टानों ने पाला है. All right, Kunal, and you are angel investors to many startups. What's the X factor that you look at when you're investing in companies?
I think what we look at is if they are tech enabled, they are able to scale up fast, and they are maybe solving a very small problem, but it has to be category agnostic. In that category, all the customer, all the brands should have those problem in them. It should be large enough TAM to even solve it for, and it
ये
should
मतलब
be
आपके
taken in.
experience से खुद what you have done, you expect it from the companies you invest in.
Correct. And only we look out for the tech-enabled startups who are, leveraging tech. Otherwise, we would not go for any of, offline-led startup, which is cash flow heavy or maybe, investment heavy or maybe, manpower heavy. So if this matches, we will not go for them.
All right, best way to stay grounded as a startup founder. ये थोड़ा पेचीदा सा सवाल है because सब लोग क्या है कि अब कैमरा है तो हम सब भी grounded लग सकते हैं, but it's a different feeling, right? Because it's highs and lows. अचानक देखा जाए हम यूनिकॉर्न बन गए हैं, डेकाकॉर्न बन गए हैं, डॉलर साइन, पर staying grounded is what gets you through the long game. So आप कैसे इसको हैंडल कर? LinkedIn आंसर नहीं.
हाँ, तो मैं गुजराती मीडियम से आया हूँ तो मुझे पता है कि क्या वहाँ पे उतार चढ़ाव होते हैं. बट नाउ व्हाट वी हैव सीन इज लाइक व्हेन वी मीट सो मेनी पीपल, व्हेन वी टॉक टू देम, वी रियलाइज दैट देयर आर पीपल हु हैव डन ग्रेटर थिंग्स देन यू. सो देन you realize, okay, like we have to achieve more. So it is not like I have reached to the peak and now I can say that सब कुछ हो गया है.
All right.
What we can do is like always try to thrive better and achieve more, and that's when you stay
प्रेरणा ले
सकते हैं.
पर ये this is giving me more शहंशाह vibes. रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप लगते हैं. All right. Last question on the accelerator segment. Your personal growth mantra, how do you see yourself growing as a person अगले 5 साल में? ये थोड़ा इंटरव्यू सा सवाल लगता है, पर अगर नॉन इंटरव्यू आंसर दे दो तो जॉब हायरिंग. But personally, how do you see yourself growing in 5 years?
I think now what we have is 200 people team. We will go to 1,000 people team in next 3 years or 5 years. So what I would want to improve is managing people. Like how do we manage better managers who will become eventual leaders inside the company. So to groom them, to groom myself to handle all kind of situations, to manage better finances, maybe to go from maybe $20 million to maybe $100 million. We will need to understand more finances. We will need to manage more cash flows in a positive manner. So I think all these things will be my personal goal in next 5 years journey that would want to improve better.
Basically आप अपने 1000 एम्प्लॉय के पिता बनने वाले हैं. All right, that's your 5-minute brief for staying at the top of your game while remaining grounded as a startup founder, right here on Crafting Bharat, a startup guide with Tejas Rathod of Mobavenue. It's time now for a change in the brief. Tejas will now field some questions from our audience, except for those asking, Melody itni chocolatey kyun hai? Let's begin our final segment called The Advisor. Right, our first question comes from Arjun Nijhavan, an angel investor. He wants to know if you can share any tips for managing finances and budgeting when it comes to startups. Talk about coincidences. Go ahead.
I think understanding your monthly, expenses would be very critical. Then understanding your revenues, and then going for maybe better hirings, which will be leading multiple heads. I think that would be a very critical task for you to do when you are trying to build a scalable system which will lead maybe hundreds of clients and customers.
All right, so basically managing a startup is like managing a ghar.
Yeah, of course.
Kahani ghar ki. All right. Our second question comes from Vedika, who's from the Z Growth Capital. And Vedika wishes to know if you can talk about the challenges and opportunities that you faced while scaling Mobavenue. Go ahead, sir.
We faced a lot of challenges. First of all was, hiring a key managerial positions, which had larger experience from the, biggest of the enterprise companies. So what we had major problems is to convince them to leave their, high-paying job and come to a startup which is, just growing and, trying to convince them that, why they should,
example
so we have shown them the journey, like year-on-year growth, year-on-year customer list which they have been working with us. We have shown them like how we have grown, what kind of product we have made, and what is the opportunity which lies in Mobavenue. It will be not that smaller job which they have smaller role maybe they are playing in the bigger ecosystem. It will be like multiple roles which they will be playing in the smaller organization. So we had always trying to give them good kind of course project to lure them in, but
नहीं तो इतना सब करके आप बेंच में बैठो बोलोगे तो
yeah, that will not work. So identifying the key people who will grow our organization to next level was the key challenge which we had faced. But on top of it, it always is like building a right kind of team inside Mobavenue and right kind of customer, like understanding your customer, that we always only take an enterprise client who is in the growth journey. We will never go to the client which is like
अच्छा उसमें भी आपका filter है क्या?
Yeah. Only clients which has $50 million plus valuation, we only bring those clients to the table. Otherwise, we will not even serve them, because like they are trying to first solve their business and then will they go for a scale. Only when they are trying to go to the scale in the growth journey, we will come into picture. So we will try to identify those customers. We will always see all kind of news where people are raising money. Those will be the right customer, because always after raising money they would want to grow their business. That's where we pitch in. So
गाड़ी में तो fuel रहनी चाहिए ना, तो ड्राइवर बोलेगा कहाँ पे चल लेकर जाओ आप.
Correct. So all these kind of identifying right customer, identifying right people inside the team, identifying your cash flows and management of finance. I think these were all the challenges which we faced during scaling our.
इतना identifying हो गया है कि मुझे identity crisis हो रही है. All right, our third and final question comes from Debapriya Chakrabarti from Entrepreneur, the business incubator, and she asks, how do you prioritize and manage tasks effectively as a startup founder? ये बड़ा टेढ़ा सा सवाल है, मतलब सिंपल लगता है, but it's so many things happening, right? Especially कि ये मीटिंग से लेकर वो मीटिंग, और पैंडेमिक के तहत तो जूम पर जूम ऐसा हो रहा था. तो how do you manage this?
I think having a clear objective in your mind, so there will be so many opportunities coming from all direction, but you will have to let go of a couple of them, because they will not reach or they will not fit in your objective. So staying clear focus, laser targeted focus on your objective would be very much critical. And then what I do personally is like I will write down all my tasks for a day and or a week, and then I will have the objective of a month, like what I would want to achieve in a month span, and within maybe 6 months of a broader plan, like after 6 months we would want to have this many things inside system. So I will write it down, daily task. I will understand broader perspective, and then would go for like what we want to achieve. So it is all about like staying true to the objective and not just go for short-term maybe goals and looking at the larger goal which is there on the system. Otherwise, you will not able to prioritize multiple things which is there in the inside the system.
All right. जो कैलेंडर से करे प्यार, वो सक्सेस से कैसे करे इनकार. All right. That's our cue to conclude this episode of Crafting Bharat, a startup guide powered by AWS. This podcast is an initiative of NewsReach. Tejas, thank you so much for joining us and, of course, sharing with our audience your experience and lessons of how Mobavenue stood out from the pack.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And if you are trying to stay away from the second page of a search engine or trying to grow your brands, Baja and Bharat, you could take a peek at Mobavenue and the platform they offer. Big thank you also to our audience for tuning in. Do like, share and subscribe to our channel for stories on standing out in this competitive world of startups. Till next time, this is your host Gautam Srinivasan signing off. Crafting Bharat, a startup guide powered by AWS, is an initiative of NewsReach in association with VC Circle, produced by HT Smartcast. The director and executive producer of this show is Deepthi Ahuja. The assistant producer is Veda Mohan. The video editor on this show is Puljit Singh. And the audio editor is Amrinder Singh.